Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's an unusual night for our show. Usually, again, we record on Tuesdays, we stream on Tuesdays, but we moved it to today, Wednesday, because there was an Open Cup match last night. Unfortunately, it wasn't the result that us Orange County Soccer Club fans were hoping for as they were on the road in Lancaster and losing penalties, which is always the hardest way to lose and be eliminated from a competition. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the positives from this past weekend when Orange County defeated Sacramento Republic. We're going to look ahead to the Oakland match. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the show of champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. I've only got one partner helping me out in this episode, and that is the bearded one himself, Larry. Larry, how are you doing? Did you all miss me last week? How are things going? I heard you struggled without me last week. Let me just say that.
I'm sorry. You were gone last week?
Well, apparently y'all had to pull me out of my vacation to try and help fix things briefly. So
I know nothing
no.
about that. I just picked up the slack. I went on, the OCSC_soccer cast Instagram page. I went live. I kept people entertained for a solid 25 minutes of just me babbling, having no idea what the hell I'm talking about. It was beautiful. You should have been there.
No, I give you and the rest of the team props for that because that's quick thinking on your feet to keep the thing going, trying to fix things. I think eventually we got things fixed. Producer
Yes.
Andy was working so hard, sweating, stressing in the background, trying to figure out what was going on. Unfortunately, our guest on that episode, we didn't want to make them hang around too much. We were going to bring in someone from a Sacramento podcast, Jared,
Jared.
right? I believe
Yeah,
is the
Jared.
name
Yes.
from State of the Republic, and he tried to hang out as long as he could, but we felt bad. We let him, take off for the night. So we'll get him back on in the near future. We apologize, Jared, for all that trouble. We apologize to all of y'all that were ready to listen to us last week, but we're ready here this week. You got the two fun guys this episode, myself and Larry. We're
That's
gonna have a
true.
fun time, but before we do so, I'm just gonna do this, Larry. I want to get through the painful stuff first, and then we'll get into the positives. Look ahead to the next match. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. If you are living under a rock and you don't know what the painful stuff is for this episode, it was last night's Open Cup match for Orange County Soccer Club as they traveled up to Lancaster with a decent following of supporters making the way up there. I believe when you look at the stream, it looked like there was a good 15 or so supporters that were up there in the stands for Orange County.
Might have been a little
Our
more.
producer Andy, I'm just looking what I saw on the stream, but probably a little more. Our producer Andy was there. He'll be able to verify or give us a better number of that. Andy,
Hello.
hey, producer Andy's here.
Yeah,
What were
there.
the numbers?
I'd say there was probably 25 of us total. There was
Which
maybe 15 supporters and then 15 other folks. Let's say that.
I mean, that's an awesome turnout for a Tuesday night match in Lancaster. Which, if you're not familiar with the geographic area of Southern California, it's basically polar opposite of where Orange County is in relation to sort of LA. When you think about that, right? So it's a good. What was the travel time for you guys? Like 2.5 hours to get up there, 3 hours to get up there, Andy?
Yeah, the way up there in the afternoon, it was about 3 hours and change. It was a long drive.
And unfortunately, it's not the funnest of return drives when you are on the losing end of things. I believe producer Andy mentioned he got back home around 1 o'clock in the morning. So first of all, props to you, producer Andy, for making it here this evening. I'm sure you're exhausted after limited sleep last night. The match in Lancaster against AV Alta. They are a new team to League One. They have had an impressive start to their home season this year, I believe, winning all 4 of their home matches heading into this match. And they kept that ball rolling. And let me just say this: props to AV Alta's fan base, because they had what looked to be a really good crowd out there for a Tuesday evening. Am I correct on that from what you saw there, Andy?
Yeah, we were sitting kind of directly across from the camera view, I think. So you could probably see us quite a bit, but most of the fans are on the near side and you can't see them as much. If you can picture a baseball stadium kind of in the shape of an L, their stands go behind the one goal and then along the sideline, kind of what's on the screen right now. The fans are kind of below. And from what I saw, that section, all the way around, I wouldn't say it was full, but there was quite a bit of people. I will say that they probably had more people on a cold Tuesday night than we would have had. So, props to the locals for showing up.
Well, let's also keep in mind that there's nothing else to do in Lancaster. I mean, if you've ever been to Lancaster,
I
but
I
before
have
yesterday.
been to Lancaster a fair number of times for youth soccer state cup competitions. Um, I don't. Obviously, I've never enjoyed the nightlife other than the Cheesecake Factory there. Because if you're middle class like me, that's some fancy stuff. Um, I'm not gonna badmouth the town. It's most people are just there to live and make a living and do their thing.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, outside of retail and dining and stuff, they don't have a lot of other options.
well, I know a little bit about Lancaster. I spent a week there one day, and it was one of the worst days of my entire life, which is why it felt like a week. But yeah, let's talk about this match a little bit, because I've got some stuff to say.
Okay, let's talk about this match. First, I want to talk about the amazing goal from Silla from what looked like an impossible angle. I have no idea how that got past the goalkeeper other than just pure power, and it had to be placed perfectly. Were you impressed, Larry? And I'll get to you also on this, Andy. How impressed were you with that goal?
That was just a thing of absolute beauty. I mean, there is no angle there for him to take a shot. There's no reason for him to take a shot there, but he did, and he had the confidence that he was going to hit the back of the net, and he hit the top of the net, he hit the side of the net, and then he hit the back of the net. He had all three in one shot. It was absolutely magical, and this is the kind of thing I've been waiting to see from him, to see that guy that won the Mac Herman Trophy, and that was him last night. And Usman Silla is him for this team. He is going to be a huge difference maker. He is difference maker. He's opened his account with Orange County Soccer Club, and I think we're going to see a whole bunch more this year.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I think most of the fans were excited from what the few opportunities we got to see him in the preseason. I think heading into the season, we expect a lot out of him, and this is possibly opening up the scorebooks for him. I believe 7 goals last season in MLS Next Pro, or something like that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he can score goals, and it looked like it there. Andy, you all from the support section had a pretty good angle of that goal. How quickly did you realize that it went to the back of the net? Did you guys know instantaneously, or was it one of those like you didn't really think it could happen, so you weren't quite ready for it? What was the thought from the fans there?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew, like Larry said, you could see it kind of, what do they call it in pool? A 3-rail. It was like a 3-rail shot, hit a lot of sides of the netting. So we knew it was in right away, but we all turned to each other and basically said, how did that go in? Because the replay was just on a second ago, and he's only maybe a yard off the touchline, and he's got a defender in front of him. How he squeezed that in, I mean, that was an amazing shot. I will partially take fault for us not winning this game, because as soon as I saw that goal go in, I'm like, dude, we got this. We're going to keep scoring goals. And then,
Oops.
things fell apart. So I should have just thought nothing to myself about that.
So for once, we can't blame it on me because I wasn't even here last week to say anything that would mess things up. Before we get into the bad stuff, I also want to give props to Muhammadu War on his goal. He got higher than I thought he actually could get. I thought I didn't know he could leap that high. And let's just say a great setup from Osman Silla on the free kick. Muhammadu War gets up sky high to head it in. It was a thing of beauty. My son was watching, first time he's seen Muhammadu War on a stream like that, and was like, wait, did Ronaldo Damas make a return to Orange County? Because it sort of looked like a Ronaldo Damas type play. Um, Beautiful goal. Now, Osman Silla was a little spotty or shaky with some of his free kicks, but that was a perfect one in that instance. Larry, your thoughts on that goal and that assist?
And again, this is why I am excited about Usman Silla. To see him, I mean, come on. I mean, how everybody gets a bad free kick. Sometimes they do something brilliant and beautiful. Sometimes they kick something, and all of us sitting at home or in the stands go, "What the hell just happened right there?" And he had one or two of those last night, but on that one, he found Muhammadu's head absolutely beautifully. And man, talk about elevation. That was Ethan Zubak type elevation from a guy who is 5'7" in cleats on a good day, 5'8" maybe. I don't know what he's listed at, but everybody lists Ethan Zubak at 6'3", and Ethan is not 6'3". Love you, Ethan, if you're watching, but you ain't 6'3", bro. Yeah, that was really impressive. And if you think about it, the two goals that Mo has scored this year, both of them have tied games for us late. And you got to love having a guy like that coming off your bench. Now, granted, he started this game. Excuse me. He started this game, and I thought he played really well. He was disruptive. There were opportunities, and, when he got his big opportunity, he put the ball in the back of the net, and it was magnificent. Loved it.
Andy, I'll give you your reaction. How did the fans react to that equalizer? Did you all feel more confident after that? Did you think we had that in the bag, or were you all still nervous when the score went 2-2?
I think in the bag is pretty generous. I would say I don't want to speak for everybody. I was very nervous because I know the longer one of these Open Cup games goes, they tend to favor not us. They tend to favor our opponents the longer they go. I've sat through too many Open Cup games in extra time and pens where we do not advance. And it's crazy to think about that, but it's a different roster every couple of years. It's a different coach every couple of years, and for some reason, we just the longer those games go, the less successful we tend to be.
I think that Andy was about to say it usually benefits the home team, and then he remembered the OCFC game from a few years ago that went to penalties as well, and so he couldn't say it benefits the home team.
I was going to say, right, you can go the cliche, it benefits the home team, it benefits the underdog. That's the other cliche you might get from the longer a game like this goes. The underdog gets that momentum, that get the confidence, and it usually benefits them. But yeah, like you said, Orange County, this just sort of seems to be the thing. And the great Mike Watts, who was on the call for the Open Cup match, I believe he said it, is the last time Orange County went to PKs in the Open Cup was against Orange County FC in 2019. And we all remember how that ended up for Orange County. I want to get into sort of Orange County's struggles overall in the Open Cup. We'll get to that. But there's three like sort of key disappointments or frustrations from the match that I have. I'm sure Larry has other ones from me. But I'm going to give Larry the first opportunity to start this. Let's talk about what we were frustrated with this match or what didn't go well for Orange County. Let's see if your first one is one of the ones I was thinking about.
Everybody out there who watches this show, who knows me at Orange County Soccer Club, who knows me at the Champ, everybody knows that I am a sports official. I'm an umpire. I've been doing baseball for many, 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 many years, and I will never, ever, ever blame a referee for my team that I support losing, ever, to include last night. I will not blame the referee for us losing that game last night. What I will say is, Mr. Referee, what the hell were you doing? Our players are getting killed out there by AV Thug because that's not Alta. I don't know what the hell that was. This Sunday League, just brutal. Absolutely. I don't even mind physical play. Physical play is okay in a soccer game. That was not physical play. That was a mugging. 28 fouls and only 4 yellow cards? Are you kidding me? Okay, great. Hey, ref, good job calling the fouls. Fantastic. But you know what? There's got to be something to stop them from continuing to commit these fouls. Give some yellow cards out. There's probably 3 people on that team who should have had reds last night. And it was utterly ridiculous. And the fact that the referee allowed them to play like that, like it was a Sunday league, is absolutely freaking ridiculous. It's not why we lost. But when our players are coming up lame and getting injured, that sets me off. That is a dangerous situation, and the referee has got to do better, and he's got to be able to take control of the game. And that clown had no control whatsoever of this game. None. Zero. Yeah, Mr. Referee, I hope you're watching. I called you a clown. I don't feel bad about it.
Wow. I think that's a first for Larry ever. We got to definitely, producer Andy, we got to put that in the archives. So we have that. So the next time Larry says he never blames the ref for anything, we have that ready to be able to play. I actually wasn't even thinking about the ref in that, but come to think about it, there were quite a few shots to the face. There were a few bloody instances for both teams. But it went both ways. I think Orange County could have benefited a little bit from some non-calls as well. I believe there was one where our new defender got an elbow right to the face of former Orange County great Alexis Cerritos. And there was some acting. As he's rolling around the ground. He looked a little bit like that one professional soccer player that everyone makes fun of for rolling around on the ground after it happened. But it happened, and it was an elbow to the face with no card there. So it went both ways. I will agree there was a little bit of extra physicality out there, but that's part of Open Cup. If you go watch the FA Cup in England, the lower club teams tend to play a little bit more physical, a little bit more dirty, a little bit more chippy. They do that. It's partially just that's what they play week in, week out in the lower levels. You're playing more of that type of game where it's elbows and shoving and tugging and pushing and whatever, and less beautiful soccer. But it's also sometimes that's the way you sort of get under the skin of these players that play at higher levels that are used to a little bit more of a less physical game, maybe, or at least less dirty game. Let's say it that way. Now, one of the downsides for Orange County, not even having to do with any dirty play, really, was the injury to Grayson Duty right before the end of the first half. That was, I think, a big blow to Orange County because Orange County doesn't really have a backup for Grayson Duty on this roster. But when you look at what we have, I believe that's where they brought in. And I apologize. I don't even remember the name of our new defender. So y'all will just have to throw it in there for me.
Vuk Latinovic.
There we go. You know how to say it, Larry. So I'm going to let you just keep saying it. So our new defender.
Vuk Latinovic.
Yep. He came in for Grayson Duty. I will say he did a good job, but I don't think he's naturally an outside back. I think he's more of a center back. The loss of Grayson Duty, and from what it looked like, we don't have any official word from anything from the club or any statements or anything like that, but it looked like it's going to be a long-term injury. I'm not trying to speculate on what it was, but it looks like one of those injuries that you can anticipate a lengthy time out potentially.
It looked like a grind.
I'm saying it now. It looked like something we're going to be missing him for a bit. I'm nervous about that. And I think that impacted our second half in this match. I think we didn't quite adjust properly for the change in defense. And I think it showed. And AV Alta took advantage. If you look at some of the stuff, I believe one of those goals came from turnover, losing the ball, and then they attacked us from that side where Grayson Duty would have been sort of playing some defense. So that's a concerning part for me in this match. And that was a very negative part I saw this match. And again, I think it's probably because of the turf they were playing on. It has nothing to do with dirty play, shoving, physicality. His foot just sort of got locked in on that artificial turf, which we know more injuries happen on fake grass, right? Yeah. Head nodding on a podcast doesn't quite work, but luckily we're a show.
I didn't know that was a question.
I didn't know it was a question. I'm sorry. Did you need affirmation, Ray? You're good enough. Sure you're smart enough, and people like you.
You all act like I talk out of my backside too much, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm not doing that here. That you agree with me on something like that.
No, absolutely. And that one, there was no contact that caused Grayson to go down like that. So yeah, that was a fluke injury. It looked like it was a groin injury. So hopefully it's not, going to keep him out for too long, but we'll just keep our fingers crossed.
I'm going to just briefly go over this next thing. Is second half woes for Orange County has been a thing this season. I believe we tend to do good in the first half or decent in the first half, and for whatever reason, the other team's making tactical changes at halftime, and we're sort of sticking to our game plan, and we're not adjusting as things are changing. It happened in this match. We were ahead at halftime 1-0. Second half, we give up we concede the 2 goals very quick too, and I believe both of those goals were on basically just bonehead plays from Orange County, if I can recall correctly. I even think one of them, maybe it's another match, but there was one of them where it was like quick, like you didn't even they barely had time to show us on the screen what was happening. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm way off because it was so long ago yesterday. Is that a concern? I'll go. I want to give Andy a chance to speak on this.
Yeah.
Andy, I don't think he was planning on being with us the whole time, but he's still on the screen, so I want to let him talk. Uh, was there any concern that you saw, or is there anything that concerns you on that? I mean, it seems like it's a multi-game thing that we've seen now, and against AV Alta, same thing, second half woe.
Yeah, I would say the last few games, especially games where we've gotten ahead and then not ended ahead. What's that points lost, points drop from winning position? Which I wish they track that in our league. Just that's my side plug right now. I would say that is a trend. I don't know if it's just a response of kind of, oh, we got this. Let's just defend and coast through this. I don't want to try to guess at um, what people are thinking out on the pitch, but that's how it feels. Um, it's frustrating, and it kind of, for those of us who've been here a long time, it kind of feeds into this just trend that we can't close out games. Um, what's the right word? Consistently, we can't consistently close out games when we're ahead, and then we end up, throwing away or going to extra time or going to pens, and no one wants to go to pens in a knockout game like that because it's just a coin flip at that point.
Um, I'll let you talk about this, Larry, but we have a listener listening live, Gabriel, who basically said that they're blaming themselves. No team I support wins in penalties. Let's talk about the penalties because that was a big part of this match. Obviously, penalties are a crapshoot in the big picture, but I feel like AV Alta planned for the penalties. They make that goalkeeper change late in the match, with probably expecting that's the goalkeeper you want in there for penalties. It looks like some of our subs, we took off maybe some of our better scorers or our better shooters, or the ones you would anticipate would be better at PKs. I mean, one of the big ones was taking out Muhammadu War, who played his butt off. So obviously we know he's tired, and you bring in Ben Barjolo, who is very unproven and a young player that you probably aren't expecting that you're going to put in there as one of the PK shooters, at least in the initial five. I feel like, and I love Coach Danny Stone, but I feel like there was no tactical rhyme or reason for the substitutions for Orange County heading to what was more than likely going to be a shootout, a PK shootout. And you saw AV Alta prepping in the final minutes of extra time for that shootout. Did you notice that same thing from Larry? Were you concerned with that? Does that frustrate you at all, or am I overlooking it, overthinking it? Sorry.
Well, first of all, Gabriel, it's absolutely your fault. We're going to go ahead and just going to lay the blame at your feet. Welcome to the podcast. We're happy to have you here, and please continue to watch and take the blame for everything that goes wrong because somebody has to. Yeah, I was, when it looked like we were going to pins, I was wondering about some of the, who's going to take what. And you guys are not going to believe this part though. I only got to see the first two because something went wrong with my feed and I was behind, and then I tried to catch up, and the next thing I knew, it was over and we had lost. And I just kind of went, all right, well, as anticlimactic. So I can't comment too much on it except to blame Gabriel. Thanks, buddy.
So you saw the 2 good kicks from Orange County. I'm sure producer Andy saw all of the kicks, including the Kyle Scott one, which was on target, just a good save from the goalkeeper, but there wasn't a lot of pace behind that kick. So obviously it was easier to stop for the goalkeeper. And then whatever, again, we love Nico, but whatever that kick was, that was my son, he got to stay up late to watch the PKs, and he was even like in disbelief, like, what was that? Andy, what was the reaction in the stands during the PKs? The good ones and those bad ones.
I mean, the first one I think Cameron Dunbar took, and he just buried it, and we were really excited. And he acknowledged us in the stands. He was trying to get people pumped up. The second one was that Kyle Scott.
No, second one was Liam.
Okay,
Liam
yeah,
McKinnon.
he puts that one in. I get I guess the tactical decision of trying to be kind of cheeky on pens, but personally, if the game's on the line, you just freaking bury it. Right? You don't fool around, and that's what those first two did. They bury them. So even if the goalkeeper gets to that side of the net in time, the ball's moving so fast they can't do anything about it. And then Kyle goes to kick his, and it's on frame, and it's a really good save. Again, if it had a little more pace, it would have just ripped by, and the goalkeeper couldn't have got to it. I will say let me talk about the next one. So the next one then is Panenka. Is that the right word where you kind of try to chip it? Is that what that's called?
That's
Was
correct.
that what he was
Yes.
trying to do? Is that what he was trying to do? Because
No, that's what
that
Cameron
was-
did. Cameron
that's what
basically did a
Cameron did on the
Panenka.
first one.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
know if Nico was trying to do that or not.
Well, I'll say that from my angle, it looked like he was just a straight on shot, that he was just trying to go over the goalkeeper. Even though it cleared the bar, it did not have very much pace. I'll say that a lot of the folks around me in the stands at that point, including some, there were supporters and fans and team staff around me, and there was a lot of questioning looks of why did he try that when the game's on the line, just bury it. Maybe he mishit it. I don't know. It was just frustrating and disappointing. We were all really cold. It was really cold out there that night, and the wind was howling in our faces. We were tired. 3 hours on a bus. We were just all beat and just wanted to be done and over with at that point. We knew, once
Y'all
that
ready?
all went over the bar, we were done.
Y'all ready for the conspiracy theory here? And this is just over the top conspiracy theory. If you notice on Kyle Scott and Nico
Benalcazar.
Benalcazar. I knew the name. I just, for some reason, I had a brain fart. If you watch both of their kicks, they try to place their balls as high up as they could on that penalty spot, and both of them, the ref went up right to them, looked at it, and told them to move the ball. And what happened with their two kicks? They missed. So there may be some weird thing going on with being distracted by the ref doing that got in their head and messed them up, messed up their rhythm, messed up their thought process. But those were the only two. On Cameron and Liam McKinnon, there was none of that. They just put it in the spot and they drilled it in. For some reason, Kyle Scott and Nico were both trying to inch it as close as they could to that bar, thinking maybe a millisecond was going to make a difference on the kicks. So I just want to throw out there, I get it. That's sort of really high up there conspiracy theory. But I did notice that on their two kicks, they were forced to move the ball before they kicked. So that, hey, it could have thrown them off. It could have thrown them off. Last thing I want to talk about, and this is funny moment of the night. And I want to know what the response is from the traveling fans. So I'm going to go to you first, Handy. PKs are getting ready to start. And the AV Alta scoreboard says, everyone come sit here. So everyone is following their way out there. And then I'm watching the stream. I see Brewitt go up to, I believe it was Colin Shuttler at the time. And basically right away, and he's pushing Colin Shuttler to the other side of the field. I'm like, yeah, we won the toss and we picked the other side. And lo and behold, we did. What was going on in the stadium when that all happened? Andy, give us the play-by-play of that whole moment, because that was hilarious. And he's muted.
Andy, you're muted.
I don't usually do this stuff.
Yeah,
so from my perspective, there's the big scoreboard and the arrows were pointing like, come down here. And I mean, a ton of people were going down there. That's the supporter in, props to them. I think it's 661 supporters. They were very, very cool, very welcoming. Almost everybody was super cool last night. And so all these people are just pouring down there, and even a bunch of our supporters like, hey, we're going down there. I'm like, I'm cold and I'm old. I'm staying right where I'm at. Um, and then we saw the same thing. We saw, the teams kind of lining up and the goalkeepers walking towards. I started laughing, and then I mean, deep down I'm a hater, but I try to be a better person most of the time. So we started yelling like, "Oh no, pens are down here, pens are down here," trying to keep people from walking down there. And a couple people were like waving them off, like, "Yeah, whatever, Orange County, stupid person." And then sure enough, we see them get about halfway down and turn around and come right back. And I was just kind of like this at them up in the stands, like, "I tried to tell you." But yeah, I mean, it was funny. I don't, if I was taking pens, I would not want to do it in front of the supporter end, because that end is loud. Like, they got that big stand and a roof over it, and it just pushed all the sound out from them. They were, there wasn't a lot of them, but they were loud and noisy the whole game. So again, props to them.
Hey, we remember the home games for Orange County where it was only a few supporters out there making noise, and we grew to what we have now, where you get a nice section of supporters at every home match. So again, props, like you said, to the supporters there, the 661, and the fans. Like I said at the beginning, the fans showed up for the match, which is beautiful to see. And this is where you look at the way the USL is setting up things for the future of US soccer with competitions between leagues, promotion relegation hopefully happening sometime soon, first division. It's going to set up beautiful things like this where you have these types of sort of semi derbies. I know we're not close enough to really be a true derby with Lancaster with AV Alta, but it's something where you can drive to the match, which is very rare. You get that in U.S. sports like this, where you can drive to an opponent's home stadium and actually have an atmosphere there with your travelers. So great to see that. Any last thoughts, Larry, on this match before we move on to the positive that happened? And I know we're running long on this, but this one was just a cluster mess I wanted to talk about. Go for it, Larry.
No, let us move on to the next subject. Thank you.
Let us move on to the next subject, which was the previous match. Orange County victorious over Sacramento Republic at home in a pretty good match. I'm going to go to you, Larry, because you said you have some stuff you wanted to talk about this one. So I'm going to open up the mic for you.
Yeah, there was some play between Usman and Bryce that I thought was just lovely. These two were hooking up with each other all night long. Oh, that sounds weird. Y'all know what I mean. Um, they were reading each other so well, and Scylla was feeding him the ball, and Bryce was feeding it back to him, and it was really really nice to watch. And that right there, I mean, I realize and I understand that we only have Bryce for the rest of this year, and then we're not going to have him anymore, and he will be missed sorely. But bigger and better things for him, so I'm happy for him there. But I'm really really going to enjoy watching this combination of Scylla and Jameson for the remainder of this season. Now, over on the other side of the pitch, I am so excited for Liam McKinnon because he just, 3 games ago now, he got out on the pitch and he he did some stuff that was very impressive and really fun to watch. And then he did a little bit more the next game. And then here on Saturday night, he fed Dogman that ball down just right into the edge of the box, and then Dogman fed it into Zubak for the first goal of the game. And it's just, these guys are fun to watch. I mean, there is some excitement in there. They are talented. And man, hell, we're only, what are we, 5 games into the season? Is that what we've played? 5? We still got 29 more to watch Scylla and watch McKinnon and watch these guys playing off of the other players on the team out there. And man, I am just so hopeful because of these two in particular. Still waiting for Traeger to come back from that injury because we know he can play too. Just Liam McKinnon in general. I think he's exciting to watch. I think he's very smart with the ball. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. I mean, he's going to do some things for us the rest of this year. I have no doubt whatsoever in my mind.
I'm going to say this right now because I know we've gone back and forth. Early on, I was even saying Liam, but I think the proper way to say his name is Liam. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Slam.
I know John Morrissey said Liam. I believe on broadcast that he's played, it's been Liam. So I believe that is the correct way to say it. Maybe we'll get some confirmation on that. But yeah,
Did I say
beautiful
Liam?
stuff.
Did I say Liam?
I think you said Liam at one point there. So
My bad.
it's a honest mistake. I just want to make sure people understand. We realize that there's probably the correct way to say that there. Let's talk about because I think Ethan Zubak got hurt in this match, and it looks like he probably will be. It's one of those ones we talked about, Grayson Duty. Like, we don't know an official word yet, but it looks like it's probably one that's going to keep him out for a bit of time, which means you're going to have to see players like Liam McKinnon, Muhammadu War, which I'm glad to see him getting opportunities, and hopefully Tristan Traeger makes it back sooner rather than later to fill in for that. That would probably be the big negative from that. And I love when the players like to celebrate right in front of our flag there, or our banner in front of Caroline Coalition too, because that's some free promotion for our show. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. I believe there was some potential worries too. I think Colin Shuttler was getting beat up this match. Obviously the Ethan Zubak situation there. Was there any concerns from any of that from you? I know we know that Ethan's out. Were you worried that Colin was potentially going to be out as well too from some of the stuff that we saw happen in this match?
Nah, not at all. I mean, goalies, you breathe on them wrong and they fall down for 7 or 8 minutes, and it's not that big a deal. I don't really think that Colin was. There's a certain gamesmanship that happens in involving goalkeepers, and I get it and I understand that. So I don't really think there was any danger of losing Shuttler to an injury at any point during this game with Sacramento. Gamesmanship, maybe. Did he get bumped into and he hit the ground a little hard? Yeah, sure. I firmly believe that he was absolutely fine that entire time. So no, there was no concern there on that part from me.
All right, and then I want to ask you this big question, because we know you're always pro referee in these matches. How does the Sacramento player not get a card for trying to drag an injured Ethan Zubak off the pitch by his arm? How?
I don't know. I'm not a soccer referee. How does Grayson Duty not get a red card for what he did? Because that was, if you go back and watch that one with Grayson, that's, from everything I know about refereeing soccer, which isn't all that much, that kind of looked like it should have maybe been a red. So we got away with one there. As for him grabbing onto Ethan and trying to drag him off the field, that's incredibly unprofessional. And I think it was it Roro who did that?
Yeah, it was Roro.
He knows better.
He's such a professional. He's such a professional for a long time. League. Yes.
I mean, this guy,
he's a well-liked person.
Yeah. And it's a heat of the moment thing. I get it. It's not cool. Our guy was hurt. And here's the thing. If it was one of their players and we were losing 2-1 and our guy did it, we'll be like, yeah, get his ass off the field. I get it. So, not cool, not necessary. How he doesn't get a yellow card, I don't know. That's outside of my expertise level.
All right. I was just wondering, because you were so adamant that you are very pro referee that you never blame the referee for anything. I just wanted to know,
I don't blame referees for losses. When my team loses, I will never blame a referee for a loss. I will never blame a baseball team. I will never blame an umpire for a loss, or all those people who blame the referees for the Chiefs winning every game. Well, they didn't win the Super Bowl, so it's not the referee's fault. It's the play on the pitch that does it. Now, are the referees bad sometimes? Sure, of course they are. I had a game a couple weeks ago where I was horrible, but it happens. It happens.
All right. Anything else about this match you wanted to talk before we look ahead to the next match?
Yeah, we didn't actually score a goal this match. They were both own goals.
All right. That's fine. They count towards our win, though. So
they count towards our total. That's all that matters. Oh, can we talk about Kyle using his very handsome face to stop a ball? That was something.
Go for it.
I mean, we all saw it, and
right there.
Is it this one here?
Yeah, we just saw it. You just missed it, Larry.
Okay, well, maybe I'm behind again, like I was on the penalties last night. Who knows?
There you go, right here. Boom. Good job, Kyle. For those of you not watching our live stream, video stream, or not watching our video
It is.
stream replay on Spotify, that's we're referencing what we're seeing on our screen here. So if you don't know how to watch us live or watch the video, you can follow us on social media. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media to find out when our shows are going to be live. We go live typically every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. This is a special night because of the Open Cup. Also, subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to watch the video version of our show in replay, you can subscribe on Spotify, and that's where it'll play, and you can see exactly what we're talking about when we reference what we're seeing on the screen. Before we move ahead to the preview, I want to ask you this question, Larry.
Yes.
We have now played 6 matches in 2025,
Mhm.
0 clean sheets for Colin Shuttler. Is that any bit of a concern for you at this point?
Yeah, a little bit. We all had there's question marks coming into the season about our back line. Pruitt's done a very good job so far. Partners next to him, maybe not quite as much. Not having any clean sheets after 5-6 games, whatever it is at this point, that is a little bit of a concern. So hopefully that turns around sometime very soon. I mean, Colin was one of the top 2 or 3 in clean sheets last season, I think, with 12 or 13. And so far 0 this year. And I don't know how many of those goals are actually, his fault versus defensive breakdowns. And we've had some defensive breakdowns, like right at the end of the game we lost 1-0 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And
Vegas.
Can't have that.
Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. There we go. I didn't travel for that one either. Things like that you can't blame the goalkeeper for. When the defense gets back in behind your back line, defenders aren't the fastest cats on the planet. And, they're trying to keep up with these forwards who are the fastest cats on the planet. And your goalie's going to get beat, 8 times out of 10 in a situation like that. So I'm not going to hold Shuttler's feet to the fire just yet. But yeah, we need to stop giving up so many goals.
Hey, if we need a speedster on defense, maybe Pete can reach out to Albie Skendi and see what he's up to, because apparently he was super fast when he was with Orange County. Let's look at for Orange County or for Colin Shuttler's next chance at a clean sheet. It's a match against Oakland Roots, the team that probably has circled this match as a revenge match after we sort of destroyed them in the opener of the season, 4-2 at home. This is going to be a road match against Oakland. Oakland had a similar result in the Open Cup as Orange County. They got cup set by Tacoma Defiance, I believe. So they are have a bad taste in their mouth, just like we do. They have that extra motivation because we destroyed them in the opener. It really wasn't a 4-2 result. It was really more a 4-0 result. We just had some lapses on defense after we had it secured. Are we worried, Larry? Are we worried that Oakland is going to come out for revenge in this match and we're not going to be able to handle it?
I don't think that Oakland has the roster to keep up with us, even if we are without Grayson Duty, even if we are without Ethan Zubak. There was a little fella who made a reappearance there last night in Cameron Dunbar, and we all know what Cameron Dunbar can do with the ball at his feet. He can absolutely abuse defenses, and you get him out there, you get him on the pitch, you get Liam McKinnon out there on the pitch, you get Scylla out there on the pitch, you get Jameson out there on the pitch, and heck, let's just go ahead and stick War up there in that 9 and let him eat. And I think that that's exactly what's going to happen. I think those are the guys that we are going to be able to focus on Saturday. And I think we're going to have no difficulty whatsoever with Oakland this weekend. And we're going to come home with 3 points. I'm fully confident in that.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that's what it is. I am a little bit more worried than you are, Larry, that this is one of those matches where you're going to have a team that wants revenge, that they feel like they were embarrassed in that home opener. I know they've been struggling this year, but their most recent USL Championship match was a 1-0 victory over FC Tulsa, 2-1 victory over FC Tulsa. So they have tasted victory recently. That was their first victory of the season. And again, this is one of those matches. Hey, we made them look silly in that first match. They probably are looking for that revenge. And I am not as confident as you, Larry. I'm thinking this will be a tough one. Do I think Orange County should and will come out victorious? Yes, but I don't think it will be as simple as you make it sound to be from your thoughts on this match.
Well, I
Do we
will
want to?
go ahead and make a further bold prediction. First game of the season, 4 goals, 4 different goal scorers. Correct me if I'm wrong there, right? Nico, Kyle, Ethan, and I forgot who the fourth one was. Andy, you got that info?
You making Andy look up stuff last minute, man.
Nico, Kyle Scott,
Ryan.
Ethan Zubek,
And
Ryan
Dogman.
Dogman,
Okay.
and Mohamedou War. I'll have one.
But yeah, in that match against Oakland.
In that match against Oakland, we got the 4. So what I'm going to say right now is there's going to be a 5th goal scorer, maybe even a 6th. And both of those are going to be 2 guys who have not yet scored this year for us, and that is Liam and that is Cameron. So we're going to get at least 2, and those 2 guys are going to be the ones who score those 2 goals. I don't know how many more we're going to get, but I think we're going to get at least 2, and I do not think that Oakland is going to match that. They might get 1 because we're having trouble keeping clean sheets right now, but 6 goals against Oakland, 6 different goal scorers. There you go. I said what I said.
All right, let's get into our match predictions then for this. We don't have an updated score in our prediction game. Unfortunately, Brad is busy doing other live stuff right now, so we don't have an updated information on that. And but we'll still give our predictions for this match. Larry, what's the confidence score prediction you have for this match for Orange County?
3-1 OC.
So still no clean sheet for Orange County, but you still think it's going to be a victory. And you're predicting a goal from Liam McKinnon, a goal from Cameron Dunbar. Who do you think that third goal will come from?
Well, it's not going to be you. Probably not going to be me.
Gnarly?
It's not going to be Gnarly. I don't know. Maybe Scylla gets another one, gets his second one. I would say that's a possibility right there. Don't ever count out Ryan Dogman to do
Dogman stuff.
Dogman literally, it's in his name, and he's got that dog in him. The guy just does stuff. It's so much fun watching him. So who knows? We're going to get 3. We are going to get 3. And there you go.
Producer Andy was on the chats and he put war just in all capitals, WAR. I feel like, I feel like we need to get the club. Whenever Mohamedou War scores, we need to get that clip from Rush Hour where Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are singing that song War in the car. I think that should be like his sort of celebration when he scores a goal. That'd be fun. Let's make that happen. My prediction for this match, and here's what we're gonna do. For those that have followed our podcast for a while now, a few years ago, we went on a really great run, and every episode I was drinking some really good rum, plantation rum. I'm changing things up. I want to get on a good run here early on in the season, and I'm going to take one for the team to make that happen. For those of you that know what this stuff is, you know what I'm saying when I say take one for the team. I will, as long as we keep winning, I will do a shot each episode as we're on a nice win streak here. Hopefully this happens. We got a full bottle just purchased while I was out on vacation last week because I was near the Chicago area. I wanted to prove that this is what it is that we're doing here. Hey, by the way, Jepson's Malort, if you want to help sponsor our show, go ahead and do so. I will accept that as a sponsor, and I know our supporters will accept that because we support you guys, your drink pre-matches. So that's what I'm going to do. So cheers to that. Orange County is going to be Oakland on the road, and we're going to get our first shutout of the season. It's going to be 3-0 Orange County. I guess I was more positive and more hopeful for this team than you were, Larry, because I'm giving a better scoreline for Orange County.
I just saw a comment there over on the left-hand side, and it said, "Oh my God, Malort isn't even that bad." Isn't that a king who's still in high school, or is that one of the college ones? I can't keep track of them all. There's so many.
Oh, is that one of producer Andy's kings? Wow.
Well, given that she came on and said, "Hi, Dad," she wasn't talking to me.
There's our predictions. there's our show. We got to wrap things up, but anything else you want to say before we get to our wrap up here, Larry?
No, hey, just everybody keep the faith. You know what? Last night was I'm not going to say it was an anomaly because it was a cup game, and Orange County Soccer Club just does not do well in cup games. Maybe we'll do better in the Jägermeister Cup. You know, if we win the Jägermeister Cup, I will do shots on air of Jägermeister because I actually don't mind Jägermeister. It's not that horrible. Keep the faith. Watch the game on Saturday. Maybe find a bar that's going to be showing the game. Make some noise. Get out there. Maybe some of us will be showing up at the Harp. Who knows? Haven't really heard anything yet, but we'll put it out on socials to get some fan support out there and make some noise together and just keep our community driving forward.
Perfect. Let's wrap things up. Larry, what'd you learn this episode?
What did I learn this episode? I learned that referee does not know what a card is at all. None. Zero. 28 fouls, 4 cards. Give me a freaking break.
What did I learn this episode? I learned that my co-host Larry is scared of this stuff, but
I ain't scared.
Andy's 24-year-old king daughter is not. So sorry, producer Andy. We're throwing producer Andy's family out on the show. He's like, damn you guys. We're going to wrap things up with that because I'm going to get in trouble now. I want to thank, of course, Larry, as always. I want to thank all of our people that were watching live, participating in the chats. Thank you for doing so. For those of you that listen later on in podcast form, thank you for doing so. Visit our website, ocsepodcast.com, for all of our written content. For producer Andy, for Larry, I'm Ray. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We are out.